good evening to all. So today I am going to discuss the last part of the list. So before discussion, let's have a quick review of what we have discussed till date. So we started this list with the creation, that how we can create the list with the help of the square brackets. And we have discussed that within the list we can have dissimilar data types. We can create empty list, we can have the list with these expressions, we can have the multi-dimensional list, right? And thereafter we discussed about some of the operations with respect to the list. And the operation is that the first operation is how we can access the element from the list. And to access, simply we need to put the name of the list, and within the square bracket we need to put a index value. So with the help of the index value, we can get the value of the element that is present in the list. Then we have discussed about how we can get this sublist from the list. And for that we have this format, start and step size. And it is not necessary to write this part start, it is not necessary to write end, it is not necessary to write step size, right? So we have discussed this in detail. We have discussed about the negative step size, that what is the impact of negative step size. We have, with the help of the length function, this length function, we are able to get the length, number of elements that are present in the list. With the help of this index function, we are able to get the index value of the first occurrence of this value, right? With the help of this, to replace the element, to replace the value of particular element in the list, the syntax is this, that simply I will put a list name followed by the index value, and then whatever value I want to assign, the new value I can put over here. To delete the particular element of the list, simply again I need to put the name of the list followed by the index value. To insert a new element at particular index, I can use this insert function, and with the help of this insert function, simply I can insert 4 at index value 1, right? With the help of append means that the new value will be inserted at the end. So we discussed that we do not need to mention the index value because the new value will be inserted at the end. So with the help of this function, we can insert 9 at the end of the list. We have discussed about sorting, that if I want to do a sorting in ascending order, then the function is this list name dot sort. And if I want to do the sorting in descending order, in that case, inside the parenthesis, I need to put this reverse equals to 2. We discussed that to reverse the list, the function is this, that with the help of this function, we can reverse the list. And along with this, we also have this option of mentioning the step size as -1. We have discussed that with the help of this max function, we can get the maximum value of the element that is present in the list. With the help of the main function, we can get the minimum value that is present in the list. And with the help of this sum function, we can get the sum of all the elements that are present in the list, right? So, and we have discussed that as per the English, the summation of A and B is not possible. So if we try to execute this, it is going to show an error. Whereas if we are writing in this way, then the result is this, because this plus operator can combine, as per the Python plus operator, we can concatenate the two strings, but this sum function, it does not do the concatenation. So it does not combine the two strings or the strings that are present in the list. It simply displays the error, right? You can see this. Now we have seen that with the help of, if we put to combine the two lists, simply we can combine the two lists with the help of the plus operator. So if we put plus, it is not going to add the elements of the list, but it is going to combine the two lists. Then In the end, we have discussed about the in operator, and in the in operator I told you that simply the in operator says that 51 is present in list 1. So if this statement is true, then this will be replaced by true and true will be assigned to this B. So like over here 51 is not present in this list 1. So 51 is present in list 1. This statement is false because 51 is not present in the list 1. So this is false and false will be assigned to B, right? So in this way we can have this membership operator. This in is known as membership operator. Now today we are going to start with comparison, that is it possible to use the relational operator in for comparison, for comparing the two lists. So over here, suppose if we have this list, say list 1, list, or let me make it simple, let me make it as 153, and list 2 is this. So now if I execute this, then the answer is true. List 1 is less than list 2. So how it compares? It compares element by element. So when I use the relational operator, it compares element by element. It first checks the first elements in the two lists. So since in list 1 the first element is smaller than this, so it simply returns true, right? What if I put it as say 3? Then what will happen? Now you can see the answer is false. So when it compares the first element, so in the first element itself the condition is false. 3 is not less than 2. So it returns false. Whereas when it was 1, so first it compared the first element. Since with respect to the first element of the list 1 and list 2, both, let me put in this way. Okay. So with respect to first element of list 1 and list 2, the elements are 1 and 2. So with respect to that, 1 is less than 2. So the answer is true. So interpreter is going to go to the next step, 5, 7. So over here, if 5, 7. Now over here, suppose what will happen if it is 2. So if it is 2, now both are equal, right? Both are equal. So still it is true. Why? Because once it is equal, then interpreter is going to move to the second element and it will compare whether the second elements are less than or equal to, right? So over here, since 5 is less than 7, so as per this, list 1 is smaller than list 2, so it returns true. What if I put it as, say I put it as 15? Then it is going to return false, because as per the first element, it is both are equal, so it moves to the second element to check the comparison, and as per the second element, the second element of list 1 is greater, so it returns false. Suppose if it is also equal, then it will go to the third element, and as per the third element, it will return the value. So since 3 is less than 4, so it is true. Now what if, suppose if it is 1 and it is say 8, then means as per the first element it is true, as per the second element it is false. So what is the answer? So it will be true. Why? Because it just display the result as per the first comparison. So in what we can assume, we can take this number as 183, we can take this number as 274, and as per the, like if we put this number in order, so since 183 is less than 274, so this number is less, and so it returns true. Okay, so to just for our purpose, we can simply take this list as 183 as 274, right? So this is about the comparison. What if I want to check if the two lists are equal? So to compare the two lists, if the two lists are equal, the operator is double equal to sign. Now if suppose if I compare this, since the elements in the two lists are not equal, so it returns false. But what if I compare the same list 1 and list 2, list 1 with list 1 itself, so it returns true. So you can see, simply if I want to compare, if I want to check whether the elements in the two lists, if they are same or different, then I do not need to check it element by element. Simply I can use this relational operator and I can get the answer. What if, suppose if my list 2 has the same element like 1, 8 and 3. Now again it is true because all the elements are true. But what if the positions are changed? Like elements are same but the positions have changed. So if I now try to execute this, it is going to be false. Why? Because in list the sequence is important. Means the element at 0, element at index 1, element at index 2. So that index value is there. So the sequence of the elements or sequence of the values that are present in the list, it is important, right? That sequence. So even if we change the sequence, then the list will be considered as different, right? So it is going to return false. So this is about the comparison operator. It means that all the relational operators can be applied on the list also, right? So this is about comparison. Now after the comparison, next task is the copy function. Now suppose if I have one list and if I want to copy this list onto the another, so and suppose if I use this simple equal to, right? So if I display the list, so you can see that both list 1 and list 2, list 1, this is list 1 and this is for list 2, so both are displaying the same value. Means with the help of this we are able to copy the value from list 1 to list 2. But if I change the value at index 1, if I change the value of list 2 at index 1 to 5, and now if I display the values of list 1 and list 2, so to the surprise you will see that I have changed the value of list 2 only, but the change is reflected in list 1 also. So it means that when we copy over here, when we copy the list in this way, so it has not copied the values to the new list, but what it did, it just copied the name. Means the memory, the computer memory at which these numbers are stored. So the memory remains same. New memory is not allocated for this particular variable, for this list 2. New memory is not allocated. So when we copy the list in this way, then interpreter does not provide new memory to the list, but what it did, it's just give the reference. Means that memory which is referred by list 1, now it will be referred by both list 1 and list 2. It means that memory list 1 and list 2 is referred by two names, list 1 and list 2. So when we copy the list in this way, so we are not copying the data from one memory and store it to some other part of the memory. Or with equal to sign, we are just copying the name. Okay, so now that particular memory, same memory, will be referred by two names, list 1 and list 2. So we can use any of them. So over here, both are displaying the same value because both are referring to the same memory, right? But when I change the value, now because both are referring to the same memory, so when I change this value, means I change the value in the memory, right? So since both list 1 and list 2 are referring to the same memory, so both show the same data. So it means the conclusion is that if I want to copy the data from any list, then this is not the way. Okay, because if I do this, then whatever change that I put in list 2, the change will be reflected in list 1 also. So how we can copy the data? So to copy the data, we have to use this function list. So if I copy the like if I copy the data that is there in the list 1 using this, then suppose I execute this, means I copy the content of list 1 to list 3. Now again, if I try to change the value, like I try to change the uh, index 1 value of list 3 to 8, and now if I execute, let me if I execute list 1 and list 3, then you can see the change is reflected only on list 3, and list 1 it remains same, right? So if I want to, what happen over here, that when I copy the list using this function list, then what happened, I have copied the content and put it into the new memory, right? So list 1 data remains in that memory, and all the values are also copied to some other part of the memory, and and the and that is that part of the memory is now known with the name list 3, right? So this is about how we can copy the content, right, with the help of the list function. Now the next is list comprehension. Now list comprehension, so what is list comprehension? So list comprehension, it provides a much more short syntax for creating a new list based on the value of an existing list. Now over here, because like as I told you many times, that the purpose of Python is to easy down the life of the programmers. And the programmers, what type of programmers? Not only of the computer science engineers, but the programmers who do not know much about programming, okay, who know just about mathematics, physics, and their domain knowledge like biotech, civil, mechanical, electronics. So Python is the language for this type of the people. And considering that Python has lot of shortcuts, and one of the shortcut is the list comprehension, and it is just a one way to use this. If like to some people list comprehension seems difficult, so if it seems difficult to you, it's better to use the simple way, right? So over here, what list comprehension is doing, that it creates a new list using the list that we already have. So what it does, like suppose if I write this thing, so what it is going to do, it is going to create a new list A, and this new list will have the values x plus 2. Now what is x? X is the values of this list. So if I read this, so A is equals to x plus 2 for x present in this list. So in the first iteration, the value of x is 1. In the first iteration, the value of x is 1. So 1 will be stored. Okay, I guess I have not discussed about for loop yet. So in tomorrow's lecture, I am going to first discuss about the for loop, and then I will come back to this list comprehension. Okay, so then it will be easy for you to understand, right? So now let me do some programming. So over here, the first program is write a Python program which accept users first and the last name and print them in the reverse order with a space between them. Means the program is that, suppose if my name is Nishant Jain, so the output, this is the input, and the output, expected output is that I want it in this way, reverse of first name and reverse of second name, right? So I want to display this as an output. Means reverse of first name and then the reverse of the second. So how I can do it? Now over here we know that suppose if like we can take the input from the user. So first name fn is equals to input enter first name, and similarly enter last name. So it is ln, right? Once I get this, then what I need to do, I have to reverse this. Now to reverse the thing, what we have one thing which is the ln, and we have one syntax this, right? We have studied that if we put a step size as -1, then it is going to start reading the list from the end, right? And same thing happens for the string. So if I execute this and Nishan last name Jen, so you can see last name, I am able to reverse the last name, right? So now if I want to reverse the first name also, then what I have to do, I simply have to put same thing for the first name also. So this is my first name, so I put this in this way, and then I concatenate it with the reverse of the last name, right? So this plus, we know that the two strings, when we use plus operator with the two strings, then it simply combines the two lists, concatenate the two lists. So if I now execute this again, and if I enter Nishant Jen, it returns this, right? But I need space also in between. In between these two names, I need a space also. So what I can do, I can have this simple. So reverse of the first name plus space plus reverse of the last name. So now if I execute this, so you can see I am able to get a reverse name. Now same thing I can over here, same thing I can assign it to some like output, and then with the help of, means I assign this value to this variable output, and then I can display this. Right? So this is how we can do the reversing of the names. Now the second program is that write a Python program to display the first and the last color of the following list. So we have this list, let me copy this, right? And now the question is that I want to display the first color and the last color that is there in the list. So how I can get the first color? Simply with the help of the index value. So if I put the first index value is 0, because the index value starts with 0. So simply if I put this, it is going to display red. And for the last color, so it means I will put print, and I can, the first color in the list is, I can then put this. So if I execute, it is going to display first color in the list is red. What about the last color? So I can say, I can put last color in the list is, and what means, again I need to put an index value. What index value I can put? I told you that index value starts from 0. If we are moving from left to right, means from here to red to black, then red will have index value 0, green 1, white 2, black 3. But at the same time, if we move from right to left, means from black to red, then black will be having the index value -1 also. So black, this has two index values. One index value is 3 and another index value is -1. When I say -1, it means I am mentioning the last element of the list. When I say -2, it means I am mentioning the second last element of the list. -3, third last. -4, fourth last. Right? So if I want to display the last element, then what I have to put? I have to put -1. So -1 indicates that the last element. So you can see the last color in the list is black. Right? So in this way, simply I can get the colors. Right? Now one more thing, just a quick revision. Suppose if I have one list, LST, consists of some marks of the student, say out of 20. So let it be this, or let me put it 19, 4, 0, 3 and 17. Now suppose, or let me put it as name as marks. So suppose I have the marks of how many students? 8 students. And now from this 8 students, if I want to know the maximum highest marks scored by any student, so how I can get it? So to get the highest marks, what I have to use? Max. So if I use this command max, or let me avoid this. So if I simply use max of marks, then what it is going to do? It is going to display 19. So you can see this is the list, and in this list maximum highest number is 19. So with the help of this I can get the mark. Now suppose if I want to identify the location also, location means the index value of this. So how I can get it? So I can store this maximum marks in some variable, say mx, and now what I can do? I have to get the index. So to get the index, what is the command? Marks dot index and then mx. So if I execute this, it is going to return the index value. So it has returned 3. So you can see the index value of 19 is, it is 0, 1, 2 and 3. So it is 3 over here. So the index value is 3. So you can see we get the index value. So now if I want to display, suppose if I want to display that the highest marks is this and it is scored by this student, then how I can do it? So now suppose along with the marks, if I have the name list of the students, suppose the name is, say the first name is Ankit, second name is, say, or let me put alphabets A, B, just for a easy thing, instead of giving a proper name. So let me have some alphabets as name. So E, F, and since total how many students? 8 students are there, so I need to put till H. Right? So I have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 marks. So now if I want to know the name of the student, so how I can get it? Once I get the index, so I can assign this index at this IND, and now what I can do? Name IND. So if I display this, you can see it has displayed D. D means you can see D is located at 4th position at index 3, right? So I am able just having the name list and the corresponding marks using the max command. I get a marks, then I get the index value where this maximum marks is present, and then corresponding to this maximum marks I can get the name of the student who got the highest marks, right? So in this way, list, having the list, by grouping the data in the list, it makes the life of the programmer easy, and we can do a lot of things with the help of the list. So this is all from my side. In tomorrow's lecture, I am going to discuss about for loop along with the list. So if you have any doubt, you can put it in the comment box, and do share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you everyone.